Fresh herbs add bright flavor to every dish, but they wilt in minutes if you don't store them correctly. In this video, we'll uncover why herbs lose their snap, how temperature and location affect their life, and why two different storage methods work for tender versus hardy varieties. You'll learn the bouquet method for delicate greens, the paper towel wrap for tougher herbs, and why a quick wash can actually help before storage. We'll also cover the ethylene gas issue, basil's diva-like needs, freezing options for long-term storage, and the science behind humidity levels that keep herbs lush longer. 1. Understanding why fresh herbs wilt so quickly. After just a day or two, those beautiful, leafy bunches of herbs wilt and discolor, and trust me, there's nothing more frustrating than opening your fridge to find your expensive herbs looking like green slime. The science behind herb wilting is actually quite fascinating, and understanding it can help you prevent it. Too much moisture. If the leaves are too wet before you store them away, they will get slimy and start to rot. But if the leaves are too dry, they brown and die. This delicate balance between moisture and dryness is what makes herb storage so tricky. Excess moisture and oxygen can cause fresh herbs to wilt and brown in a matter of days, especially if they're left in a grocery bag in the crisper drawer. 2. The temperature factor. Why location matters. Temperature is another big reason herbs go bad faster. Most fresh herbs are best stored in the refrigerator. But if they are in areas of the fridge that are too cold, like the back of the top shelf, they can freeze, which will cause them to become mushy. Your refrigerator isn't just one uniform temperature zone, it's got hot spots and cold spots. Here's something that might surprise you. Tender herbs are not a fan of exposure to cold. Especially basil, whose leaves blacken upon exposure. That's why your basil always seems to turn black overnight in the fridge. Although most herbs can survive temperatures in the mid to low 40s, others cannot. For example, basil cannot survive temperatures lower than 50 degrees Fahrenheit and should not be kept on windowsills during winter months. 3. Two types of herbs require different storage methods. Not all herbs are created equal when it comes to storage. There are two types of herbs, soft herbs and hardy herbs, and they need to be stored differently. Understanding this basic difference is like having the secret key to herb storage success. There are two types of fresh culinary herbs found at farmers markets and in the produce aisle at the grocery store: tender herbs, also known as soft herbs, and hard herbs. Tender herbs have soft stems and soft leaves. They include cilantro, tarragon, parsley, dill, mint, and basil. Think of tender herbs as the delicate flowers of the herb world. They need gentle treatment. Hard herbs have hard, woody stems and stiffer leaves. Popular hard herbs include rosemary, oregano, thyme, bay leaves, and sage. These are your tough survivors that can handle a bit more rough treatment. 4. The bouquet method for tender herbs. One of the most popular methods for storing herbs I came across online was the bouquet method. This method of storing herbs has you place the herb's stem side down in a mason jar filled with water, just like you would a bouquet of fresh flowers. This isn't just some trendy Pinterest hack, there's real science behind it. The idea is that the stems drink up the water and keep the leaves crisp, hydrated, and fresh. But here's where it gets interesting. This method allows moisture to stay in while ethylene escapes, which prevents that accelerated aging process. Valen Kostovic recommends first prepping your herbs by trimming the stems slightly and removing any discolored leaves. Place your herbs in a jar filled with 1 inch of water, making sure no leaves are touching the water, stem only, she says. Cover the jar with a paper or plastic bag and store in the refrigerator. The key detail here is keeping those leaves out of the water. Nobody wants soggy herb soup. 5. Paper towel wrapping technique for hardy herbs. Wrapping them in a paper towel and sealing them in a food storage container is just the hack you need to get the most out of fresh herbs, and it works especially well for hard herbs, like rosemary, sage, and thyme. This method is brilliant because it addresses both moisture control and protection. Another method is to loosely spread out a few sprigs of herbs between paper towel sheets and seal in a plastic bag. There is some debate on whether the paper towels should be damp or not. My approach is that if I've just washed an herb, I will put it in between dry paper towels so that they will soak up any excess moisture. If I decide not to wash the herbs right away, I will dampen the towels around the stems to purposely keep the herbs moist. Prepare a damp paper towel to wrap the bunch of herbs in, and then place it into a storage container or plastic bag. This method typically keeps herbs fresh for up to 2-3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. That's seriously impressive for something as simple as a paper towel. 6. Why washing herbs before storage actually helps. Here's something that goes against common produce wisdom. Before placing them in a storage container, you want to make sure that you wash the herbs to remove any dirt. Some produce does not need to be washed before storing it, but herbs are an exception. Not washing them can shorten their lifespan and cause them to decay much faster. I am one to wash my herbs as soon as they are brought into the house. In my experience, washing herbs in cold water and then spinning out the moisture in a salad spinner not only removes any dirt and debris, but it can also prevent any type of organism that would feed on plant decay. Think of washing as preventive medicine for your herbs. The key is what you do after washing. Wash fresh herbs in cool water and dry them to eliminate any excess dirt and bacteria that will cause quick spoilage. Blot the herbs dry with a paper towel or dry them using a salad spinner. That salad spinner isn't just for lettuce, it's your herb's best friend. 7. The ethylene gas problem you never knew about. Many fruits also produce ethylene gas as they ripen. Ethylene gas can accelerate the ripening and decay of vegetables that are sensitive to the gas. Keeping gas producers and gas-sensitive produce separate will extend their freshness. This invisible enemy is probably destroying your herbs right now and you don't even know it. Herbs. Parsley, marjoram and mint are the most common herbs that are sensitive to ethylene. So if you're storing your herbs next to apples, bananas, or tomatoes, you're basically poisoning them with ripening gas. It can activate the senescence process, aging insensitive vegetables. Think of green beans, cabbage, lettuce, fresh-cut herbs, broccoli, cauliflower, plant stock, potted plants and cut flowers. The solution? All you need to do is to put the ethylene-sensitive produce in paper bags, roll them shut, and place them in one crisper, Ferretti says. Those items that produce large amounts of ethylene should be bagged and stored in a separate crisper. 8. Special treatment for basil, the diva of herbs. Basil is basically the diva of the herb world and needs special treatment. Basil is best treated just like a bouquet of flowers. Trim the base of the stems and place the whole bunch in a mason jar with 1 to 2 inches of water in the bottom. Store at room temperature out of direct sunlight. Direct sunlight will damage the plant's chlorophyll, causing the leaves to yellow. If moisture is needed, cover the herbs with a plastic bag. Basil and mint are perfect candidates to keep on the countertop because they quickly soften and decay in the chill of the refrigerator. Room temperature storage might seem counterintuitive, but basil is originally from warm climates and doesn't appreciate the cold. Here's a pro tip. If you plan to use fresh herbs within a few days, you can skip the refrigerator and store your herbs in jars on the counter, away from direct sunlight, as you would with cut flowers. Just like having a mini garden on your countertop. 9. Freezing herbs for long-term storage. Valen Kostovic shares that a quick, easy way to freeze fresh herbs is to chop them up, place them in an ice cube tray and cover each cube with water or olive oil and then freeze. I like to use olive oil because then not only do I have the delicious herb, but I also now have herb-infused olive oil, which is a treat on its own, she says. After the cubes freeze, pop them out and transfer them to a freezer-safe, airtight container, label with the date and contents and store in the freezer, up to 3 months. There are 2 ways to do this. The first method is to freeze cleaned and chopped up herbs in an ice cube tray filled with olive oil. This makes them easy to utilize in cooking whenever you need them. The second method involves freezing them whole by placing them in a plastic freezer bag after they've been washed and dried. Both methods work great for different cooking situations. Freezing your fresh herbs is a super simple way to not only store and preserve your herbs but also to retain herb freshness and flavor. Plus, you'll have herbs available all year round, even when they're out of season. 10. The science behind optimal humidity levels. Herbs also require a balance between a humid environment and adequate air circulation. Air that is too low in humidity will cause leaves to dry out, while too much humidity can lead to root rot and other fungal issues. Homes and buildings with central, forced air heating tend to have the driest winter conditions for indoor plants. In these situations, containers should be grouped to create a more humid environment. Other options for increasing humidity include setting containers in a pan of moist pebbles or near a humidifier. The optimal relative humidity is 40–60% and the optimal room temperature 20 degrees Celsius, which you can monitor quite easily with a hygrometer. These little helpers measure the level of humidity and temperature constantly and show you what your indoor climate is at a glance. If you're serious about herb storage, investing in a simple hygrometer can really help.